Tonight on behalf of Grolier Poetry Bookshop. Before we begin, we'd like to thank the Poetry Room who generously opened their space to us. Thank you, Christina Davis, and thank you, Mary Walker Graham, for collaborating on this event with us. I'm very grateful. We would also like to mention that our dear friend and wonderful poet, Danielle Legros Georges, died yesterday, and we miss her very much. Our love goes out to her friends and family, of which there are many. One last note on the more practical side of things, please silence your cell phones. Now I would like to welcome Emmanuel Oppong-Yeboah to the stage to give the official introductions. Welcome, Emmanuel.
Hello. You can say it back. Hi. Welcome to tonight's reading. I'm going to introduce the poets all at once, and then they're going to come up in the stage in that order. I'm going to start with the facts, and then I'm going to editorialize a little. Things about facts. You can get excited about facts. You can go, woo, when you hear a cool fact. You can snap at facts. And I want you to keep the energy that you give for facts going for the poets as they read. What are some good sounds to make when poets read on the stage? Wow, y'all have been to a poetry event before. That's great. All right, so facts. Tatiana Johnson-Boria is the author of Nocturne in Joy. Her writing explores identity, trauma, especially inherited trauma, and what it means to heal. She's a recipient of fellowships from the Massachusetts Cultural Council, the MacDowell Colony, the Brother Thomas Fund, and others. Tatiana received her MFA at Emerson College. She currently teaches at Emerson College, GrubStreet, and Catapult. Can we give a round of applause for Tatiana? All right, the second poet that we are going to be hearing from tonight is Saeed Jones. Saeed Jones is the author of the memoir, How We Fight for Our Lives, Simon & Schuster, and the poetry collections Prelude to Bruise, winner for the 2015 Joyce Osterville Award for Poetry, and Alive at the End of the World, Coffee House, which won the 2023 Ansfield Wolf Book Award for Poetry. Yeah. His writing has appeared in the New Yorker, New York Times, and GQ. Those are pretty fancy. All right. And then the final reader we're going to hear from, Porsha Olayiwola. Pretty famous around these parts. Porsha Olayiwola is an individual World Poetry Slam champion and the author of the collection I Shimmer Sometimes Too. Olayiwola is the current poet laureate for the city of Boston, is also the assistant professor of poetry at Emerson College. Her work can be found in or forthcoming from Tri-Quarterly Magazine, Black Warrior Review, Boston Globe, Essence Magazine, Red Divider, Split This Rock, the NBA, that's the NBA, the Academy of American Poets, Netflix, The Rumpus, Wilderness Press, the Museum of Fine Arts, and elsewhere. All right. Now on to the editorializing part. These are three poets whose work has touched my living in profound ways. Each of their books, and I mean three, some of them have multiple books, but Saeed's Prelude to Bruise, Tati's Nocturne in Joy, and then Porsha's I Shimmer Sometimes Too are really beautiful, profound works. I see in each of them an attention to and a focus on Blackness, which illuminates everything. Blackness rooted in the body, but also the body's possibilities, possibilities for healing, possibilities for restoration, possibilities for boyhood, possibilities also for imaginative, speculative realities. I see so many ancestors present in each of their works, but the one that is speaking out to me tonight is June Jordan, who writes in her poem about my rights. I am not wrong. Wrong is not my name. My name is my own, my own, my own. And I can't tell you who the hell set things up this way, but I can tell you from now on, my resistance, my simple and daily and nightly self-determination may very well cost you your life. These are poets who are coming into the world, proclaiming themselves and singing themselves constantly into better futures. I want you to give all the applause you have in your body currently to our first poet for tonight. Give it up for Tatiana Johnson-Boria.
You may not see me over the pulpit or a stool. No, I'm just kidding. You don't need to get a stool. You can hear me, you can see me. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That was beautiful. This is such a special time and day. So thank you, Grolier, Poetry, James, all of the organizers. Thank you to all the poets. I'm really excited to hear read. I just want to uplift Danielle, who is an ancestor now. And I just want to start by reading a poem by her. She was such a generous poet, and she just opened up a lot of opportunities for me to feel seen and belonged in the poetry community in New England. So I want to read this poem by her, which is from Three Leaves, Three Roots, Poems on Haiti and Congo Story. And it's essentially it's kind of a found poem using a letter from Patrice Lumumba from the Congo, and he's writing to his wife as he's enslaved during the fight for independence in the Congo. My beloved companion, I write you these words not knowing whether you will receive them, when you will receive them, and whether I will still be alive when you read them. Opening, the letter knows itself to be a vision, a key proper to the dark lock and behind the door, a plane of light muted as a savannah's revelation of a woman walking, fringed by children, hers, his, a nation's, the writer formed by the ink of a self-determination, a broader promise, what we wanted for our country, its right to be an honorable life, to perfect dignity, to independence with no restrictions. He knows his wife will not read the letter. She will hear it read. He knows, reader, that you will know he speaks to you. What else can I say, he writes. It is not my person that is important. What is important is the Congo, people whose independence has been turned into a cage, with people looking at us from outside, the bars. He says through bars, outside in, how his faith will remain unshakable, how we are not alone. So, I'm going to read some poems that I have never read before. So, well, hold your applause. Let's see. But so in 2017, after the election, I wrote a poem about going through a breakup while also getting the election results. It was a dark time, but I've been thinking now it's a different election, same results. And this time I'm a parent. Life changes fast. My life is very different from that time. And now I carry the responsibility of raising a Black child in our world. So the night of the election, my son was having what some call a sleep regression. Some people know. It's when they wake at odd hours of the night from teething, discomfort, developmental leaps. And I found it so interesting that regressions can occur when a baby or toddler begins to know more things. It's almost as if their subconscious is adjusting to a new knowing. And so the night of a sleep regression, I saw the election results, and it was a disorienting experience. So this is a poem about that night. Post-election with sleep regression. You woke at midnight, a scream rattling your throat. Or was it my scream? I sometimes still believe we are the same person. Nothing consoles you, the blanket, the holding, rubbing the short stretch of your back. You cry as if there's a shattering in a dimension we cannot see. What can we not see? I search the dew of your eyes for answers, for what is wrong, for how to fix. You don't reveal anything, yet cling to me. You are still learning what it means to be human, which requires a grace from me I did not know I had. Yet there are still tears and no other recourse but to hold and bundle you up, take you to the car, strap your restless body into the seat to let a drive lull you. Your father yawning in the driver's seat. He reverses out of the driveway, your wails now brought down to a simmer. I glance at the news, see the projections. A blankness settles. I tell your father, he's unblinking. He drives us in loops in the dark of our neighborhood, past the CVS, the library, the elementary school. Unspeaking, we glide, past streetlights, waiting to hear your breath shift. The short heaves transmuted, deep, soft, quiet. So I'm in the deep vortex of early parenting. I'm often trying to hold how to engage with the world and how to cultivate a world for my son, which, he's offered everything that I can think of: peace, love, goodness. And it's a difficult thing to be a caretaker. And I think this makes caretaking a radical and political act. It's sort of this thing of shaping and transforming a world as much as we can to let something else grow, to let something else be possible. So the rest of these poems are about caretaking, specifically mothering. And I got to actually read with Danielle, which I'm so blessed to have done last year to honor Phyllis Wheatley Peters. And these letters she wrote with Ober Tanner, who was also enslaved in New England. And I learned so much about Phyllis Wheatley just growing up. I'm from Boston. Yes, Black girls can be born in Boston. But, we always heard about Phyllis Wheatley, and I always learned, oh, she had so many children and they all died. And that was like this narrative. And then I read Honoré Fanon Jeffers' The Age of Phyllis, and she talked about how there's no actual archival research that Phyllis Wheatley had children at all. And yeah, so this is a postpartum letter to Phyllis Wheatley, regardless of children. Postpartum letter to Phyllis Wheatley Peters. It is surreal how the rupturing is immortal, the way bodies break apart something furious, the way children climb their way in and through us. Isn't it strange to be a portal? Isn't it strange to know your children have been waiting for you long before you knew of them? Birth carries its own cosmic abilities. And even when the birth doesn't happen, the beings follow like ghosts. I know you know the losses, how they detach you from your very body, the way being taken away from a homeland might. Yet different because the taking makes you wonder if you were ever alive, if you were alive enough to make something else alive. I want you to know that I know what it feels like to miscarry, write a poem about it, and bury all the evidence. They call this time of your life the lost years, meaning there was a time where you were swallowed up by grief. And it is only in grief that I've learned there is no reconciling. In grief, I've learned the body is only a body and that there is something hopeless about being a person, hopeless enough to question God. And you know this questioning well, even when you wrote poems about an acceptable God. A friend once told me they wanted to have children because there are Black people in the future. You must have known this too. You wrote so much of divinity. You must have seen your own imminence. You must have seen something abundant. The babies, the poetry, the babies, the poetry. In darkness, you were birthing futures, forever unraveling. This is a postpartum poem to my son. Upon having survived your birth, before bloody tearing became harrowed opening, an unrelenting scream signaled life, and the possibility of my own death dangled its boundless mysteries in and through me, while I pushed the eclipse of your head, stubborn in how it hid from us, the breath I couldn't catch, the back labor wrecking, the midwife's hand and mine, your father's pressed against my back, the body in eruption, unfathomable, pain, the quiet of hospital socks kissing linoleum, shuffling through the waiting, the swelling, the water that rose. You lived in the surf of me. The pain again, a vicious wave. The self severed. Who can say the same after an end and a beginning make love to each other? The descent insists on existing. That is nothing short of a miracle. The same miracle, something my mother witnessed, even when it conjured a divine grief for the self I know she lost just like I have. And two ghosts find each other just as you are arriving in the liminal space between ground and ground, breathing in this imperfect earth, your newness so glaring, I can't help but look. There's something that can happen, postpartum, where you get an influx of intrusive thoughts, and it's like the best thing to happen when you're in that stage, right? They can happen to anyone, but it's just something that can happen very strongly during that phase of life. And so, as an artist, I'm thinking of, and as a person with a mind, I'm thinking, how do I reclaim intrusive thoughts? And so this is a sonnet in which I try to do that. Intrusive thoughts replaced with water, in which he falls from my arms into the holy cove of the sea, in which his breathing stops and becomes a gulf I cuddle into, in which my breasts offer milk blue of my own blood, in which the kitchen knives are islands the shore of our bodies crash into, in which my body swallows him and he becomes me again, in which I am a failed mother and the baby becomes a memory, in which the deluge of my mind is a current I cannot swim against, in which the sea is the only reprieve for my thinking, in which he knows nothing of the person who has birthed him, in which what I thought I knew about birthing turns to brine, in which I let him go for the rivers to carry him, in which he disappears before I've even held him, in which the depth of me is a harbor billowing, the salt of his skin but a shadow on sand. I just have a couple more poems. I don't know about you, but for the longest time, my biggest fear in life was becoming like my parents. And, that has become more complicated as becoming a parent. I'm realizing just how impossible that act is. And I think it's healed a lot of where the fears come from, or complicated that fear. So this is a poem meditating on that. The daughter becomes her mother's body. Today I am her sickled spine, yearning for earth, drawn to descent. Gravity grounds the sadness to latch its stubborn feet into rising mornings. Before school, I'd watched my mother rest against the burgeoning sun. I'd ready myself for the walk alone, as if I've come from nowhere. I wonder if her bed felt like mine, the edges reaching over. Did she wait on this cliff, readying to swim the waters before the swallowing? I take 10 milligrams of citalopram each morning. My mother smokes a cigarette. We both have our ways. In the beginning, we lived in habitual dark, except I was my mother's orb brewing. Could this be the place where we were woven, the weathered soil of lineage, doing its best to yield? I am ruptured harvest. The flood of the day invites me into tomorrow. There she is, a waking dream, gathering her bones to ache forth through existence. The sky bellows the tide to guide these bodies. The waves sing us through. I'm going to read another poem about my mom. It was her birthday yesterday. Yeah, and she's really taught me about Aquarius people. And I'm they're really oh yes, I have an Aquarius friend in the room. Um yeah, I've learned so much. Um a lot of well, some of my favorite people are Aquarius people, and they are just expansive. Toni Morrison, Audre Lorde, Alice Walker, I think, maybe. Yeah. Angela Davis, like visionaries they are. Um, yeah, let's just keep talking about astrology. That sounds good. Okay. This poem is called My Mother and I Loiter. My mother and I loiter on the front steps of some young professional's apartment in Boston. She smokes, I hold my breath. It is hard for both of us to breathe. Hers, heavy doses of meds. Mine, small doses of meds. Meant to make seeing her less painful, other things less crushing. Today it is hot. She tries to blow her cigarette smoke away from me. She doesn't know much about me anymore, but knows I've always hated the smoke. She knows I've always hated how we've never been able to connect. She used to roll my infant body, in a stroller while she fumbled through schizophrenia. I knew nothing but how to love her, the way babies know how. The way babies don't know that they are experiencing pain, but that something is breaking. And my mother is a hurting thing, but like a baby, she doesn't know this. So I sing to her about my job and how the family is doing. This calms her all the time. I imagine she feels no pain, if only for a moment. And I can smile as I wonder if this is how it feels to be a mother, to know the world and all its evil and to soothe anyway, even when the consoling never comes back and you're left empty. I can't pretend to know about birthing, but I know how to make up happy stories for a woman on a front stoop who can't believe her daughter is almost 30, who can't believe she had a baby once, chanting back every lullaby meant to make things okay, meant to shield everything soft, like we are told only mothers could. I don't know how to be a mother, but somehow I have learned to keep every hard lesson tucked away until enough time has passed, until the world has aged us both old enough to learn. So that was written a long time ago because I am a mother now, and. So this is my last poem, and I want to bring another ancestor into the room, Lucille Clifton, who I don't know what I would do without Lucille Clifton. I always think it's so cool that she had 6 children, and she was a poet, writer, and educator. And I'm just like, how did she do that? But she also was just like a matriarch, I think, for writing about healing specifically. And she has this quote that I'm not going to do justice, but she says that she writes so that she does not fall into despair. And I think that's the charge for us as writers and as creators and as artists, especially in this time, to write ourselves into a joy and to write ourselves into survival. This poem is kind of off of her poem, Won't You Celebrate With Me? It's a palindrome, meaning it can be read forward and backwards, so I'll read it both ways. Lucille celebrates the living. Something has failed to kill the disquiet in bones. A celebration erupts from a corpse in descent. Watch them smile in delight. Every tooth the result of someone's prayer. Starshine suckles the tongue. How the mouth carries hymn. The shaking of limbs, rhythmic divine exorcism. Won't you witness seance in body? Won't you see the curve in our backs, the music gliding over? Won't you watch our thriving? Won't you carry us into song? By the world clawing away years of breath just because we were born. What kind of life leaves us unhaunted by our home? There are no parties where ghosts do not dance with us. There are no parties where ghosts do not dance with us. What kind of life leaves us unhaunted by our home, by the world clawing away years of breath just because we were born? Won't you carry us into song? Won't you watch our thriving? Won't you see the curve in our backs, the music gliding over? Won't you witness seance and body, the shaking of limbs, rhythmic divine exorcism, how the mouth carries hymn, starshine suckles the tongue, every tooth a result of someone's prayer. Watch them smile in delight. A celebration erupts from a corpse in descent. Something has failed to kill the disquiet in bones. Thank you all so much.
Yes, that was fierce. Let her have it. Let her have it.
Hello, my queens, and those who aspire. Compulsory heterosexuals, how are you doing? Hi, I'm Saeed Jones. This will be my first poetry reading as a resident here. Hi. Hi, neighbors. I'm currently an artist in residence at Harvard Medical School. I work with doctors and on their storytelling and the work they want to do to use different forms of media to help healthcare. And so some of them are writing, essays, poems. Some are creating video games. Yeah, just all kinds of media, and it's a real joy. And so I moved down the street in August, and I decided to stay. So it's good to be here with you both and your beautiful introduction. Some of my best friends are also Aquarians, so we love them. Okay, let's get into this gig because I'm fucking pissed. Let's start with a short poem by Langston Hughes. I like bringing ancestors everywhere we go. Evil. Looks like what drives me crazy don't have no effect on you. But I'm gonna keep on it till it drives you crazy too. I am going to read some new work and then a poem or two from my last book, Alive at the End of the World, which, it's so funny, being Black and wise because we're always on time. And every single day I just like look across the room, my book title, and like, bitch, you called it, didn't you? I like sucking dick. I'm sorry, I'm gay. What was that? What was that? Gotta wake Harvard up. We gotta wake it up. And so because I'm gay and Black, I love Whitney Houston, and I have taste. It's called having taste. And I love the Abad. An Abad is a poem about lovers parting at dawn. And so I've written several, and I'm gonna read a couple. Abad in which Whitney insists she will always love you, but I'm not Whitney. Foolish. A man I moaned under thinks I'm a person, and it's taking too long to get dressed. Whitney, did you feel how we hung like dead weight on your every sung word? I hate several of myselves right now. I bet you hated us, and hated how much you hated us. Sometimes I want to kill a man, and don't even know I want him dead. Imagine singing I Will Always Love You over a man you just ended. Or the national anthem. A mugshot, but you're the preacher's wife. Oh, Whitney, wouldn't that be fun? Come back, give murder suicide a spin. A much more elegant way to go. Honestly, bathtubs are beneath us. Now he's looking at my books. The real problem is I've gotten everything I wanted, and all my ghosts are getting loud. Ever had a night like mine, Whitney? You want to sing home, but your dead have a different key in mind? He can't find his coat. And I want a loud death for all three of us. Please hit a note high enough to crack our heads like champagne flutes. I need to be alone with my books, your songs, my dead. They say you were high half the time you filmed The Preacher's Wife. The problem is the dead don't understand miracles. I said I love you when he was in my mouth. Now he thinks I meant it. Foolish. Him for having faith, me for having a body. There are brief windows in which we belong to each other. Whitney, I want to push him out the window. He wants a song in a key I'd have to die to reach. Why won't he die already? Someone call this man a car, call him dead on arrival, a ruined bed where we misheard each other's hearts. Whitney, I think I understand you now. Oh, God. The Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, sometimes you got to sit with that shit. And in fact, the poem ends on a colon, so it's very like, what, are we okay? Are we okay? Are we okay? My editor was like, is that the speaker having like an orgasm or dying? And I was like, both, bitch. Like, little deaths. Stop acting brand new. Y'all fucked up letting me in here, Harvard. The Star-Spangled Banner isn't a bod. Whitney Houston walks into a poem again, all breezy, now that the hard part is over. We don't call them wars anymore, but we were at war when Whitney sang America's wedding song. The one about dawn's early light and bombs and all those beautiful dead boys lining America's sheet music like dead bees on a windowsill. Faithful to our ends. We were at war too when Francis Off-Key wrote America's wedding song on a boat beside bombed out Baltimore. Whitney, I can't save you from an anthem that had you by the throat before you were born. I'm no groom. I can't even save myself. Oh, thank you. I'll just be up here vibing. I'm a Sagittarius, in case you can't tell. Readily apparent. I'm like, I am literally having a good time. Just the party hermit, as I call myself. One of my favorite plays as a kid was Euripides' Medea. I loved it. And some of the first poems I wrote were like attempts to do my version of Medea. I just think it's just a fantastic text. And, if you're familiar with the play, her husband Jason leaves her after she's made incredible, lethal sacrifices on his behalf. And he is getting ready to marry this princess. And so she sends this princess a lethal wedding gift, a poisoned dress that basically eats her alive, and a crown that like kind of starts it. And so it's an incredible scene. It's all like off stage, but basically she's on it and then she's like kind of numb. She kind of has like a seizure and she's like kind of melting. And her father, the king, comes to hold his daughter as she's nearly catatonic. And the dress, everything swallows her too. And they just melt into each other. It's an incredibly horrific death. And this is like act one of the play. I just like, I love it. And I'm too scared to watch it, but I read the Wikipedia page of the substance. So, okay, gays, we're going to get Demi that Oscar. All right. All right. All right. It's like black gays, white gays. We see each other. We're doing this. So this is a poem pulling from all of that. Self-portrait as poisoned dress and crown, bridal gifts from Medea. The mirror. Mirrors are never glass. We're water, really, clear as mercury. Sip a sick selfie of yourself. Slurp another you of you. This dress suits your wedding night wants. Have you stretched yet? Ready to ride him with your clinch? Blushing bride, you were born to die in that crown. Medea is just too kind. A feast for eyes. Eyes could eat you up, I swear. There'd be nothing left. The dress. Well, I'm more of a robe. You rube. Sheer nightgown, negligent negligee, put me on, and we're both just barely here. Mere figments of fabric and figure, a feminine mist. Eek! I sent you the way you want to spend him. Inside me, you don't even feel my teeth at first. I'm less a dress and more barbed brew, I guess. Won't be long now. I make a red mess. The crown. I'm heavy as any halo worth heaving. Mad last, honey, I drip my bad love all over you. Don't you mind little gold me, sweat pea? Let it all go, goo girl. Ain't nothing selfish about a selfie when your mirror is the only gal that ain't trying to kill you. Don't look so good. Best not look at all. Bad, bad ghoul, all drooled, down, chewed up, fierce as a phlegm queen coffin. Oh, this is so fun. This is so fun. I love a good self-portrait. I love that you love Prelude to Bruise. We love a self-portrait. I've been rereading Beloved. Toni Morrison reads the audiobook. So I've been like rereading and then listening. She read many of the books, and she's an astounding reader. And so this time I was really interested in their dog. Setha and Denver have a dog that Beloved, and like in the opening chapter, beats up and really like throws the dog across. And the dog is named Here Boy, one word. So the dog, after it's thrown against the wall and like really injured, never comes back inside the house, but doesn't leave. Sleeps outside, as Denver does. Self-portrait is Here Boy. Worried my love's not worth much, but I always come when called. Ain't my name your favorite command? No need to raise your hand. How long you plan on marauding me with meek mercies? I'm still bandaged from your last love. Dogged years I've knelt at your lap, tongue out, eyes wet. And for what? When it's not your hands on me, it's your dead, come ready to wind up and wound. Thank you. Thank you. Gay, so gay boys, Greek myth, we live. And, so there's a king and he has a daughter named Danae, and he learns a prophecy that like, if his daughter gives birth, like it's like gonna bring doom, because y'all know how niggas are. And, especially Greek niggas. And, so he locks her up in a tower, because y'all know how niggas are. Misogyny, LOL. So unrelatable. And locks her in a tower, and Zeus, because you know how niggas are, never met a woman in Greek myth he didn't want to rape. And so he turns himself into a shower of gold coins, and comes through a window, and that's how Danae gets pregnant. And just like, what? Like, and so I was at a concert with some dear friends recently and started writing this I was having a good time, to be clear. But I don't know why, but I started, I had to pee. That's what it was. I was like, this is really good. I have to pee. And to keep myself still, because the music, I was like, I'm not leaving to miss a song. And so I said to myself, my body is none of my business. And this poem came from, go with trust the process. Self-portrait as Danae and the shower of gold. Break my back, and I'll break your headboard, daddy. My body's so bad, men call me Domino Sugar Diva. Lick me, and I'll make your teeth fall out. I'll make you see ghosts wearing Sugar Diva's face. Watch me pull a butch moan out of you like gold thread. Got you seeing colored. My body so bad, museum curators get hard as gold bricks, wet dreaming of ways to steal me from my own life. A dead god said he wanted me once, peed a shower of gold coins and called me his. Money is funny, yo. Not like funny ha-ha, though, more like, have you ever held $1 in your shaking hand and tried to count George Washington's false teeth? The president paid 9 slaves for their teeth. I'm guessing their smiles ended up in his mouth. A white co-worker stood next to me in a bar once and told me to smile so he could see me in the dark. He said it was a joke, but it wasn't funny, ha-ha, just fucked. What's the going rate for Black laughter these days anyway? How much should I charge to make these jokes feel like men? My body is none of my business, and love is my favorite kind of loan. It's not even possible for a man to say, I want you in America, and not also mean, I can afford you. Thank you. Yes, my therapist and I are on a journey together. Okay, I'm going to read a couple of poems from Alive at the End of the World. God, this book is just too pertinent. Freaks me out. I'm so angry. Are you angry? Right? It's like startling. Oh. Pat Boone covered not one but 2 of Little Richard's songs. Like in real time, not like years later, like in real time, and made much more money than Little Richard ever made for those songs. And understandably, Little Richard was mad about it for the rest of his life. Little Richard listens to Pat Boone sing Tutti Frutti, and this will be my last poem. If I could, and I bet I could, hell, I know I could write a song that killed anyone who tried to wrap their throat around it. I'm writing the first verse right now. Riding the rhythm like your mama, straddling the preacher while your daddy looks on, with a mouth full of every moan he can't have. Ain't that what you really want? A stadium full of white people screaming your stage name and a smashed guitar where your dick used to be? Ain't that what you deserve? God is the only reason I haven't already held you down and spat the hook into your mouth like a poison that will kill us both. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, I feel so incredibly grateful and blessed and lucky to be reading alongside these folks and to be in this room with you all. Thank you all for being here. I just printed out a couple of poems. I don't know exactly what I'm reading, nor in which order. But I attempted to edit some things today, so I guess I'll start with some of the new-ish things. And then also in conversation with the self-portraits. This is called Self-Portrait with Birthday Hat. No one comes to my party. Imagine a petty girl in an empty room, dressed in my best heaven-hued suit. The room is decorated with banners and ribbons and puff balls that a tree kneeled over for. Balloons nearly bursting with my breath spread the floor. Here, I dance like ashes over the sea. There's no cake, just small snacks to chew away time. How does the song go? It's my birthday and I can be a funeral if I want to. Birth is a matter of desire that had nothing to do with me. And here I am in a shiny red hat, 33rd time, pinned just like a piñata or like nails on a crucifix. I do not have a God body. The truth is, I didn't throw a party because I was afraid no one would come, not even me. So this poem I wrote when I was very angry. Speaking of angry, but I think today I'm relatively sad. So you'll get that version, which is probably a safer version. I think if I would have read this one. Whew, okay. And yeah, it's a work in progress. We listen, we do not judge. That's what they say. And here we are again on land with blades and teeth. In a nation with hands reaching like the claw of a hanger for everything we thought belonged to us. What belongs to us is figment here. Even we are figment here. And here we are again, a border closing in on us, a courtroom hitting the gavel over our dearly beloved, the eye of a camera, surveilling who we fuck, a gag and muzzle around our mouth of sugar. Everything we marched for got marched over with an order. This dark comedy of a country, this shaky, sinister laugh, pledging to carry us to the casket if we let it. And here we are again, with no choice but to color our palms red, and I welcome it. What I mean is bring back the machete. Its slice is sharp enough for the rich. Bring back the killer cooks. Make them tape off the kitchen crime scene, cyanide, arsenic, mentionel root, white toad. Bring back the slow worker, the slow walker, the gazer, the lazy strategy. Radical capitalism will not make an American dream out of me, figment of any fascist imagination. Bring back fighting fire with flames. Set the bedside of racist grannies ablaze. Bring back the uprising. Picture me toting a shotgun in one hand and the other peeling back the curtain. Taser tased us for the last time. Cop ran me down with his motorcycle. Cop choked this man in the street, so I'm robbing the station. I'm taking the flagpole as bayonet. Bring back the machete. Politicians have made this a lawless land, so I want the law of Sarah Sally Bassett, Margaret Garner, and Nat Turner. I want the writing of Audrey, June, Tony, and Claude amended as Constitution. Let me be clear. I am calling for violence. I am invocating the drums. I am inciting my ancestors. Let me be clear. I am planning to go out swinging a dagger. I am planning to go out in a fight to the death. I'm going out screaming, this art be a dangerous thing. I want my nails and knuckles clogged with the flesh of somebody else. I'm going out. I'm biting the neck of some supremacist, gouging out his eyes with my teeth, mouthful of bloody skin and cartilage, ravishing, triumphant. Oh Lord, this beast I've had to become. Yeah, I guess we're all angry here. A series of American sonnets. Before he was deported, my father taught me to fish like a man. Good man, my father was. He could catch the best God had to offer and the worst. Like devout fishermen, we were religious at the lake. My image swimming in my father's reflection. Girl learning man, man, girl learning to eat, to cast a line like how the country did, split an ocean between my father and I, have like a fillet, croakers flopping on the beach of our mother countries. It took years to learn how to unlearn anger. I wanted only to lie in the blood of my father, cast away, body bones swallowed up, how borders never allow us to keep who it is that we love. My students' final presentations, and in the middle of one, I've never seen these edits. This is great. I assign my students' final presentations, and in the middle of one, the student says, "Skinny black trees." And all I think is black. Skinny black kids. Skinny black legs dangling off the side of lips like lollipops. Skinny black limbs, skinned knees, black with hope, skinned black hope, so thin it vanishes like a line lynched on the horizon. What's right with me? Am I wired to think lack, a gravekeeper, pallbearer? Whose child, rancid with morbidity, am I? Do I belong to God? Is God bound back to black like this, all rope and a loose neck? All cross and clean hands, no skinny blood spilled, and still grief coffles my mouth like a chain gang. The student finishes. A plus. I was gonna say Tatiana is one of my favorite poets ever. And then this is my first time hearing you read, and you are incredible, Saeed. Thank you so much. And that smile, no? Oh my God. I'm like blushing. Last American sonnet after the poet Nicole Seeley, called Legendary, Seeley's poem, and ends every word with the line white, and this ends every line with the word black. And it's called Legend Heavy. I want to be married in church in black, not like tradition. No, it must be black. Black dress, black suit, black roses and cake, black wife. View of us, pretty skin, smiling black, and let the chorus come. Witness this black love down the aisle, each piano key, black, each note of song lifted, black, our vows, black like promise. I want 3, no 4, small black Jubilee kids, safe sound behind a black picket fence, grandmother, my mother, black in a rocking chair, cooing, hey there, black child, be careful, take those school clothes off, black, don't clean easy, it stains, moonrise stays black to sunrise, sometimes white never shines through. Yeah, these are, I don't know what is going on here. This is called Bring Me the Body. You say, maybe we shouldn't have sex. And it's the most turned on I've been in a while. How to explain it? Lust lotusing. Greed curdling a curious explorer into a conqueror. Fatness causes a catacomb of stairs. Blackness is immortal in its mortality. The body is a flowering casket, alluring prey too petaled to risk the haul, even when the sun asks a simple living of us. It's day 26 of the quarantine, and if we aren't fucking, then darling, what are we doing? How else to slaughter time? What other ways to know I am alive than howling unto a corpse that is not my own? So what the mattress sweeps, my breath dank, my hair's cob a web. So what my underarms and thigh wounds ooze. I haven't lifted a limb, moved these legs, shaken this sodden coffin in weeks. Ain't I still worth the loving, girl? Don't I still get to ride the procession, baby? Tulip talk me. Bring over your lips, sweeter than the unvows rafted last night. Hand me your ass. Let me feed it to my anger. Let me glut the thirst with all this bleeding. Who desires a carcass anyway? I could stretch you into a cadaver who sings, a purring apparition. I could wrap up all this hunger and lay it a precious gift in the grave of our bed. All you have to do, my love, is say, yes. Sometimes I eat. I think this is what this is called. Once out of anger, I told a lover I wanted to gobble her up, devour her bones until we were both dust. I am that thirsty. I thirst for a meal forged from the dainty fingers that feed me. Once, just the two of us had a picnic alongside the Charles, and I slurped up the whole bank of water between my cheeks. Bass, perch, newt, eel, and all. I did not stop. I did not leave the city a drop of blood. In bed, I say grace before I swallow. I swallow. When I am alone, I skip over my prayers. The hunger is enough to forsake my body. I cheated, confession. Sometimes I play with my food because I am enamored with the sounds. I slosh my face and wide mouth, nape of breast, nails, toes licked, even the eyeballs like bad apples, ravished and ravish ready. Sweetie pie, you are not a term of endearment. Starve, I want all of me consumed. Famish, I desire all of me gone. I'm going to do two more, and then I hear there's a reception. If you know me, you know I've been obsessed with contrapuntals. So here I am. This too is about Whitney Houston. And I think it's just been a work in progress. I really cannot figure the poem out yet. So here we are, live editing. I've been writing a lot about Black folk in water. And we know that Whitney drowned in the bathtub, and then Bobby Christina, excuse me, died some years later by way of the same vessel. So this first part is called the chorus. They say it's an eerie tale. A singer's voice gets warped into a hubris addiction. A woman curdling to keep the eyes of her man. Every devotion is tragedy, every prayer a prison. Most women die screaming for a saving grace and still are buried in the tunnel of the throat, between the glits and their husband's grin. The body of a woman is white magic, and at any time can take on the shape of grief, become a rock concert and a funeral, while simultaneously a crack pitch at the end of a solo run. And how will Nip be remembered? A record, a hit, a hiss, a fist, a chalk line sprawled across, always around and inside her, a dark womb, always below her, a dark party waiting to burst, obituary pretty, meet my maker ready, when there is nothing left on this earth to love. Two, which is the second side of the poem, that is the chorus on the subject, Bobby Christina. Daughter gets wrapped in the image of her creator. They say I was a bad oracle, Oedipus ache, a mother's love cradling her baby to the grave. It's true. We all want to be the gods we come from, and some girls die being the grace saving their mothers. Wretched Mara, Ophelia Curse, girls who drowned in a bath tomb of porcelain. What spectacle. Everything I want, the tip of my tiny vocal range, a roll, an oh, ah, and suddenly I am just like my mother, spliced and split strand, a double helix duo, a dance on a stage illuminated by foreshadow. If I am my mother's best song, am I never myself? And if I am the child to a supernova, does that make us a fading glimmer, matter star, the crescendo of a black hole? Mother God, take me with you. I can't find a thing I love whose name I know to pronounce. And 3, which is a cross, and the 2 combined, the chorus on the subject, Bobby Christina and Whitney Houston drowning in a bathtub 3 years apart. They say it's an eerie tale. A singer's daughter gets wrapped in the image of her creator. Voice gets warped into a hubris addiction. They say I was a bad oracle, Oedipus ache, a woman curdling to keep the eyes of her man, a mother's love cradling her baby to the grave. Every devotion is tragedy, every prayer a prison. It's true. We all want to be the gods we come from, and most women die screaming for a saving grace. Some girls die being the grace saving their mothers and still are buried in the tunnel of the throat. Wretched Mara, Ophelia Curse, girls who drowned between the glitz in their husband's grin in a bath tomb of porcelain. What spectacle. The body of a woman is white magic, and at any time, everything I want. The tip of my tiny vocal range can take on the shape of grief, become a rock, a roll, an oh, ah, and suddenly I am just like a concert and a funeral, while simultaneously mother, spliced and split strand, a double helix duo, a crack pitch at the end of a solo run, a dance on a stage illuminated by foreshadow. And how will Nip be remembered? A record? And if I am my mother's best song, am I never a hit? A hiss? A fist, a chalk line sprawled across myself. And if I am the child to a supernova, always around and inside her, a dark womb, does that make us a fading glimmer, matter star, always below her, a dark party, waiting to burst? The crescendo of a black hole, Mother God, obituary pretty, meet my maker ready, take me with you. I can't find a thing I love. There's not a thing left on this earth to love whose name I know to pronounce. And this last poem is written by Danielle. It's possibly my favorite poem from Danielle LaGrosse George. Deeply saddened by her passing. And I can't say too much because I will sob. Yeah, this I think is forthcoming from up the staircase publishing in about a month. But it is the poem as a bill of sale in sight of fury and sorrow. And it is kind of a found poem as well, from an actual bill of sale here in New England, specifically the bill of sale for an enslaved 2-year-old girl whose name was Violet. And from what I understand, Violet was crossed out and changed her name to Nancy. Redacted. Bill of sale for enslaved 2-year-old girl, baby Violet. Name sustained and repeating many times. Violet, 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 Vi. Witness my hand and seal the day she is born. Witnesses, mother, midwife who brings this child into the world. Father. Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you all. Buy their books. I just want to shout out Tati. This book in particular, Nocturne in Joy, is the name of a sonnet crown in the book, and it's amazing. There have been a lot of sonnets tonight. Sonnets are really cool. I'm not going to geek out about them, but it's just like the last line of each poem is the first line of the next poem, and there's a crown of them, so 14. Yeah. Buy this book, buy this book, buy all of Saeed's books. And we'll see you at the reception. Yeah, sharpen some machetes. All right. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Excellent.